So yeah, new vlog. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys about obviously Sunday activity versus Sunday at church. Okay, so when I got saved, when I gave my life to Christ, one of the decisions I made was to make sure that on Sunday I'm not going to be preoccupied. And I'm gonna say this as a disclaimer: just because you don't go to church on a Sunday does not mean that you ain't saved. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that Sunday church is such an important time for Christians because it's like our time that we sharpen one another, that we commune together, that we come together. The Bible even says in Hebrews 10 verse 25 says that do not neglect the gathering of the brethren. And the reason why it says that is because you have to understand the walk is so strenuous. You need a place where you can come to where there's liberty, freedom, and an ability to express yourself freely. Now, in this day and age especially, I mean, being at work and everything, you've got to be very careful what you even say about your religious beliefs. When you're at church, you don't have to feel that way. We say what we say because we are in agreement. And so we're in a place where we can express ourselves freely. For instance, worship. Worship is actually a time that we give to God, meaning that there's a time that we give. It's not about taking, it's about giving. In the worship section, it's about saying, God, listen, I'm giving you praise, I'm giving you the honor, I'm exalting you, I'm giving all of me during worship. It's a time that we're meant to give. And praise is exactly the same. When we have the word, that's the time that we receive. That's the time that when we get. You know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take at church. That worship section, ask anybody who's a Christian who's been saved. When you're in a turbulent time and you come to church, right, and you worship with all your heart, your soul, and there's a problem which is aching you or beating you, when you get into worship, it's like all your troubles seem to melt away. Why? Because the Bible says, cast your burdens onto me. Okay, and the Bible says that we should live our whole lives as worship, meaning we should give on to God. And that worship is a kind of symbolism, or that worship is a kind of metaphor, or should we say a symbiology, or should we say even a tiny shard of what really worship is. And so we sing, you are holy, holy. So we sing, yeah, because it's to release ourselves, to release everything that's on our chest and that's on our minds, and that's what we're feeling that week. Okay, so church is so important. So when people are doing things during the time of not just but when people are doing activities during the time of when they should be at church, and when I say church, I mean corporate worship, because if your corporate worship day is a Wednesday, fine, it's not a problem. The thing is, most Christian churches, their corporate worship day is a Sunday, and so when you miss a Sunday, what happens is it mashes up your whole week. It's funny because Sunday actually was meant to be the first day of the week. So you're meant to start your week off right by being in church, by being in the presence of the Lord, by being amongst fellow believers to start your week off right. Again, I'm just going to put a disclaimer. By saying that you don't come to church on a Sunday, or you're busy working, or you've got busy activities on a Sunday, it's not saying that you're not saved. What I'm saying to you is that that's your haven, that's your place to come to, that's your home, that's where you come to rejuvenate, that's where you come to get refreshed, that's where you come to get re-energized. So when you're not there, and you miss out, fam, it's long. That week now you're going into seems to be a little bit more, you know, and you're having to stoke up your fire. See, the Bible says, where two get together, iron must sharpen iron, innit? So when you're coming into church, it's a place where you're going to get sharpened. Even if it's a small sharpen, you're going to get sharpened. It's a place where you're going to receive the word. And a lot of the times is this, a lot of Christians don't read their word. So the only time they hear the word, and the Bible says faith cometh by hearing, and the thing is, the Bible says that faith can move mountains. So therefore, I'm going to bring this equation. If you're not hearing, you haven't got enough faith to be able to move some mountains in your life. Some mountains in your life. Do you feel me? So what I'm saying is this, a lot of people who don't read their word, the church is the only place they're going to hear the word. So if you take the church out of the equation, you're not hearing the word. And so no faith is coming. And so therefore, miraculous signs and wonders and the feats that you're meant to be doing, and the fact that you're meant to be making a change in the world to become the salt of the earth, isn't happening on a regular, consistent basis. So again, I'm not saying that if you don't go to church on a Sunday, you ain't saved. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is the importance of corporate worship. If your church corporate worship day is a Sunday, you should probably be there. And a lot of the times, you have to think about this. For the whole week, 6 out of 7 days, you could be working. And just one day, it's not even one day for most people, it's 2-3 hours in your day, in that day on Sunday, you can't give it to God. Something I think about, and I think to myself, how does God view this? I'm then I think to myself, how is your relationship growing from that? A lot of people, when they get the revelation and understanding that Sunday worship, or let's just say your church corporate worship day, when you get the understanding that I should be there, what happens, the relationship between them and God begins to change. And when your relationship between you and God begins to change, you begin to change. Because Christ is the one that lives in you. So your relationship will change with Christ, will begin to change and reflect on you. Do you see what I'm saying? So I remember when I got saved, I remember I was looking for jobs and I was at McDonald's. I'm loving it. I used to work at McDonald's. So I was looking for jobs and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I applied for, I think, Vodafone and stuff like that, right? And I was applying for mad jobs. I wasn't getting no replies, you know, when they clicked and said no, unfortunately, you know, we'll keep you on the system. You know the lines, innit? And I managed to procure a job at Vodafone and I was thinking, it's good money. Fam, it's nice. I would have been living life, okay? And then they said, obviously, oh, what days can you work? And I said, Monday to Saturdays are the only days I can work. Then she was like, so what, can you not work a Sunday? I said, I'm a Christian, I can't work a Sunday. She said, but you know, like obviously, you know, it would be very helpful if you could be more flexible. I said, listen, I cannot work a Sunday, that's the day that I need to go to my corporate worship. Okay, now at the time when I said that, I was like, but God, you know I need a job. Fam, I really need a job. And I was like, God, you need to provide something because, fam, that job there, I could take it, make money, feel Larry, you get me, and feel nice. But something told me, don't take the job just don't take the job because you need to have the Sunday off. Okay? I used to have the Sundays off at McDonald's. Why am I going to go to a job where I don't get Sundays off again? And so in the end, I couldn't get the job because I don't want to have Sundays off. And I remember praying to God, telling God, listen, God, I beg you, like, come on. Do something for me, you get me? Sundays, you know, these people are saying I can't work now because of Sundays, I have to work Sundays. Boom. Next you know, the bank, I get jobs in a bank. And I don't have to work a Sunday. I'm not forced to work a Sunday. And I was thinking to myself, rah, that's how God pulled through for me, you know. Like I rejected a job for the fact that I don't want to work a Sunday. And a job has called me where I don't have to work a Sunday at all. And the job pays far better than the one I was going to have before. And then I realized that God will honor that. God honors those who are loyal to Him. God honors those who are understanding of who they're meant to be and why they're meant to do something. So, for instance, okay, Sunday worship. Some people will work happily. They'll work hours upon hours. I remember one pastor told me, listen, all the overtime that you do on that Sunday, it gets quenched. The money gets taken. Show me where the money is. And I realized he's not lying. All the money that he was meant to, all the money meant to make up on that Sunday, it goes. Hold on, I'm gonna have to switch this up. So yeah, so it's raining now, so it's gonna be mad. Yeah, so God will honor those who honor Him, and He will never embarrass His children. You feel me? And I'm not, again, I want to put the disclaimer, I'm not condemning you if you work a Sunday. What I'm saying to you is, have the revelation, get the understanding that your corporate day of worship, which often is a Sunday, is important. Whatever day your church chooses, some people believe that church should be on a Saturday. I tell them, listen, church is only on a Sunday because that's the day we've chosen to worship. That's the day that Christ was supposedly meant to resurrect, as the Bible says. You get me? So we worship on a Sunday because it's resurrection. Now, is Sunday the actual day we should worship? Well, in a sense, the Jewish people are right and it should be a Saturday. But we don't believe in Sabbaths anymore. So should the Sabbath day that you're talking about, we don't even have a Sabbath. The only Sabbath that we have is that Christ is our rest. So that means now that every day should be as equal as the other. Again, I've said I'm not saying that Sunday is above the other. I'm saying whichever day is your corporate day of worship is the day you should be there. Okay? It's the day that you should be there. Like it's like gathering, or it's like a gathering of your friends. When your friends gather, you want to gather. Why? Because it's a good time. Because you go there to refresh yourselves. You go there to have a time, to have chill time, to catch jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like to catch up. You know, if you got ideas, you bounce off each other. That's the same with Christians. Our church time is the time that we come together. We bounce off each other. We flow with each other. You know, we laugh and cry with each other. We express our testimonies. We encourage each other. We tell each other, this is what God has done in my life. This is what He can do in your life. And so church is that important time. And so when people miss it, I know people who, listen, they're working from night shift, yeah? They run to church on a Sunday. They want to make sure they get there, and they try to get there as early as they can. Woo! They try to get there as early as they can because they've understood that corporate worship time is so important. It's 3, 4, maybe 5, some people are only 3, 4 hours maybe max in the whole week. that you come together with other Christians. Yet you go to work for 8 hours on each day, 40 hours you're spending with non-Christians. So imagine the kind of fire you're not getting when you need to come into the world, right? For 40 hours, you go into church for 3 to 4 hours. How does that work out? And half of us are not reading our scriptures. Half of us are not worshipping on our own when we get at home. Half of us are not praying when we get at home. So therefore, you're not catching fire for the whole week. The time that you're meant to catch fire is when you come together with the brethren, sharpen yourselves. So the 40 hours you spend at work, you can't influence anybody about Christ. You can't even tell them about Christ. You feel scared to tell them about Christ. When they tell you, listen, don't express your religious views at work, you tell them, I don't want to do that because I don't want to offend nobody. Listen, Christ already told you the gospel is offensive. The gospel is offensive and people won't like it. And you're not meant to care because the Bible's already told you what will happen. But because of the fact that you want to spend 3-4 hours because you've got Sunday activities, and let's be real, man them. Let's be real. Some of us are kicking football on a Sunday. I was one of them guys, so I know. We're kicking football on a Sunday, you know, feeling crispy and Larry at 10 o'clock we get up early, come kick football, and then the rest of the day is boom. We can't come to church because we're tired. We've got our commitments. Some of us, we've got girlfriends, so, you know, we're not doing church anymore. I worship God in my own house. Okay. But not understanding that Sunday, you would go to work, Sunday you play football, Sunday you go and see friends, Sunday it's like Sunday is a day that everybody goes to chill, but refuses to understand that the Sabbath, that day of rest, or should I say that corporate day of worship, was meant for the fact that we can gather together. That's why the Bible never states what day it was. It just says, do not neglect the gathering of the brethren. It doesn't say, do not neglect the gathering of the Sunday worship, but it says, do not neglect the gathering of the brethren. And that's the day that we get together. And I feel like I'm repeating myself because I need to make that potently clear. As Christians, that day that where we went to gather, you should not really really be doing something else. Put that aside, come and do your Sunday worship. Whether it's a Wednesday you worship, come do your Wednesday worship. If it's a Thursday worship, you know we worship on Thursday, come do your Thursday worship. I'm just saying, that 3-4 hours you spend in church, where you spend 40 hours a week in work, how would you influence those people around you? The presence of God is what changes a man, what changes a woman. That presence of God puts a fire on that person to now become an influence and then become a sharp tool in amongst the world that we're living in. So I'm just letting you know, Sunday worship, you know what? If you're doing something else on a Sunday or whenever your church worship day is, I want to be very clear. Like, I want to let you know, listen, the moment you stop doing that activity, what stops you from going to church regularly, I promise you now the blessing that will come will be completely unmatched by that financial advantage, that emotional advantage, that what other advantages are there? I don't know. Whatever advantage you're getting from being on a Sunday doing whatever you're doing, it will overwhelm that advantage that you were getting there. I promise you now. Because God honors those who honor Him. And He will never mock or embarrass His children. And He will never embarrass or mock anybody who's loyal to Him. I can promise you that. I've seen it in my life. I gave up Sunday football. I didn't want to go work on a Sunday. I made sure Sunday is clear so I can do church stuff. And you know, even just 2-3 hours I'm using at church. I don't even use a Sunday properly, because if we're saying about Sabbath, the whole day you're meant to use for rest, recuperation. You know what I mean? You're not meant to work. You're meant to do God's work on that day, not your work. After us, I don't even do that. So, you know, I'm just letting you know, Sunday worship is really important. Like, if you can find another day for that activity, find another day for that thing that you're doing. And I promise you, God will bless you in a way that you can't understand. Alright? I'm not condemning anyone for doing Sunday, for not going to church on Sunday because you've got other activity. I'm letting you know that loyalty that you show, that change that you show, shows how serious you are and how much you want to develop your relationship with Jesus Christ. Man, I'm out here. Yo.